This is just a follow-up to the video I did yesterday. It's coming off that I was saying that the Haymon contract is a bad contract. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as if you're a fighter and you want security, okay, the Haymon contract may be good for you. If you're a fighter that wants to fight big fights, let's say if you're a fighter, you want to have 3 big fights, even if you lose 2 of them. That's not necessarily up to you. Now, as far as the opponents, you have to put your faith of the person who's picking your opponents or finalizing them. I know he's got matchmakers out there. I know he's got scouts. I know he's got people like Watson and the brothers Watson going to the gyms and things like that. But when you have things like Rod Sulka and, Carlos Molina for Adrian Broner, what I'm saying is, I guess I can just say the Rod Sulka situation. And I guess I can say Andre Berto from when he was on HBO. Al Haymon has a history of not giving us consistency with big fights. So, it's hard not to judge. And when you look at the contract and when you hear some of the frustration in a guy like Keith Thurman's voice, or some of the frustration that was visible or out in the media with Robert Guerrero just about a year ago, you have to think, well, and then the inactivity of some fighters, and then the fact that you have a big amount of 140, 147 pounders not fighting each other, it's hard not to judge. But once again, if you look at the contract, I can understand. He's squeezing out the promoter. An advisor is not a manager. Yes, an advisor does shit a manager should do, and it does things, well, the position you do basically everything. A guy like Al Haymon is the perfect advisor because he has clout with arenas, sponsors, like for example, Budweiser, things like that, movie stars, music. So fighters who tend to come from urban backgrounds, they can easily branch out into other things or be known in other things if they have the skills. So for example, Mayweather is not the sharpest knife in his drawer, but what we've noticed from him is that when it comes around fight time, he's everywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Al Haymon that appointed his Instagram guy. So that's when I say Al Haymon is smart, because he keeps his fighters in as far as relevancy. So when it comes to Adrian Broner, I really got to sit back and I think like, well, Al Haymon can stop all this bullshit anytime he wants. I wonder if he tells Adrian Broner to be like that because he's in tune with the fans and know like fans are going to watch him and love him and hate him. You get me? I don't know if he tells Floyd Mayweather to go out there and tell fans like, listen, just say he don't do the numbers you do. You're TBE. Then you got Mayweather like, yeah, I'm TBE. I don't know if there's Haymon telling him to say, well, say he's a young, hungry lion, say it comes with the territory, and just say, you're going to see how everything goes. And you're going to give the fans what they want to see. That's it. Like, we don't know if, he's the one planting this stuff into these fighters and telling them to do this, do that, and do this. So when you look at a guy like Aries Landy Lara, when you look at the fact of he's rumored to be fighting Ishe Smith, you think like, okay, typical Al Haymon matchmaking. You come off a big fight and you go to a guy like Ishe Smith, but it's not a big fight, but it's a fight that fans can say, oh, yeah, I know Ishe Smith. You see what I'm saying? But then you think about like, well, what about the Charlos? Or what about, well, he already fought Austin Trout, but I don't feel like naming another 154 pounders, and really it's not that many of them. He's got a lot of 140, 147 pounders, and I'm talking about like big names. When you think about Mayweather Promotions is Al Haymon. So once again, Al Haymon's contracts are not bad contracts. If you're a fighter and you want to make money and you want security, okay, it's for you. But there's a good chance you're going to take some PR hits from the fans, because the fans are knowing basically, okay, Adonis Stevenson is the perfect example. It seems as though once he got that Al Haymon money, you seen him, he was signing with Sam Watson, and he was sitting there with the smile looking up. And then you see him on Instagram showing off his new apartment with the skyline. You know, then you see him, you know, at the car dealership. Like, you know, he's got a big ass smile. So you seen right there how the Haymon money changed his life. But then you also see, guess what? Fanfara and then Sukhatsky. So despite the fact that they fought Tony Bellew, you know, Chad Dawson, you know, who else? Was it Dolores Cloud? I don't even remember. That was Bernard Hopkins. Long story short, what I'm saying is that there's a pattern. You sign with Haymon, you cool for a little while. You know, maybe 3-4 fights. Then he puts you into a big fight. But it's like, why are we getting 3-4 fights that could be good fights or somewhat good fights, but really they're not the fights we want to see. So he puts us in a situation of an enigma where we're like, well, I know that, you know, but I really would like to see, you know. So you'll get a fight with Robert Guerrero versus Yoshihiro Kamagai. And you'll say, like, why is he fighting Yoshihiro Kamagai? But then you watch it, it's a good fight. But at the same time, you got Devin Alexander and Jesus Soto Karasu on the undercard. Like, that's the type of stuff he does to us. You'll get Lucas Matisse, who has fought above 140 pounds before, and Keith Thurman, who's fighting at 147 pounds on the same card. But then you'll put Matisse against John Molina, which is a good fight. And then Keith Thurman against Julio Diaz, which is a good fight. But you see what I'm saying? So it's confusing. It's confusing, but at the same time, he doesn't really take risk. You know? So I don't know. It's frustrating because, see, I can't, and I said it in many videos before. It seemed like some videos I hated. It seemed like some videos, you know, I got signed by him, and, you know, thank you, Haymon. Thank you so much. But you have to look at, well, we got to wait until at least mid-2015. Because if we're not seeing big fights, as Sam Watson said on IFL TV interview with Coog and Cassius, he has to, you know, he owes us this. 2014 was horrible. Even though we've had unexpected big fights, it was horrible. I mean, unexpected good fights, it was horrible. HBO cleaned up. I'm TstreeT Controversy. It's crazy because on this time yesterday, I was doing a video and Al Roker was going for the record of 34 hours, like with a consistent 34-hour newscast, 34 hours straight. And now I'm watching it, and he's got like 1 hour left. That's hard work dedication. TstreeT Controversy, TstreeT Controversy Live.